Hey VC, it's Trevor back with another flat round and spun. I am really churning them out this week, it seems like. Well, this time it's going to be a contest entry for the Flipside vinyl community with JC. Josh, he got 3,000 subscribers. So we're all celebrating that. And Josh, congratulations. That is beyond awesome. He's been a major influence on me doing my own channel too. So I really enjoy his videos, especially the coming soon. I've actually picked up a few things that he's forewarned me about, or formed us of. So anyway, the first part of the contest, which I think is the most important part, is shouting out another channel. You know, kind of help each other out because we're a community, right? So I would like to shout out Nerdy Vinyl with my man Logan. Logan, he seems a bit like on the younger side because I'm an old dude, and but he likes classic stuff. I noticed he does like a lot of 70s and 80s. Rock, country, sometimes folk, but he has a story attached to every record, and I really dig listening to his stories. He's a great storyteller. So I'll put a link to his channel in the description below. Give him a sub, subscribe to his channel, tell him I said hey, and we'll see if we can get his subs up. So, all right, Logan. Cool, man. So the other part of the contest is showing 3 albums, one from the 70s, one from the 80s, and one from the 90s. So a couple of them are pretty major ones, and one that's maybe not overwhelmingly though. But anyway, we're gonna start with the 70s, and for those who actually know me, this is going to be no shock. Actually, the first 2 are no shock at all. But when I was growing up, you know, my parents had radio on all the time. We had some records, not like huge collections, not like I have a huge collection compared to like someone like Aaron Mutha Alamere. Insane. But, you know, we probably had maybe like 25 records, and that was like, you know, my parents' collection. And so there's like the Beatles, and I remember my mom playing Brad a lot and Carly Simon. But in the 70s, my mom was briefly going to community college. So she would drop me and my sister off at my grandmother's house. Now, I was probably 5 years old at the time, maybe 6. Probably 5. And my uncle was only 9 years older than me, so he was like junior high school at the time. So while he was at school, I saw he had a record collection. I'm flipping through, and I see this album with these guys on stage, and there's fog and smoke and the colored lights going through the smoke, and they're dressed really weird, and it just looked amazing. So the album, I know this is going to be some shock to some, Kiss Alive. Now, to a 5-year-old, this is just the entry point of just total hard rock. And so I was amazed, you know, with this photo, and I was guessing it was live because, well, it says alive, but, you know, there's the crowd for the concert. Didn't realize at the time that that was Cobo Arena, like, you know, a few miles down the road from us. But I put it on and heard the crowd, and, you know, heard great rock and roll. And this is my entry point into real rock. And I was obsessed for a couple years till about, this was 76 when I heard this. So about 79 when Dynasty came out, that's when I kind of like, maybe not so much. But yeah, this was my entry point. Kiss, Alive, my 70s entry. Years later, I got into some heavier stuff. I got into Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, and you know, you're always looking for the next thing, especially at that age. And you know, I was 15 when I discovered this band, and you know, being a 15-year-old, you're already amped up as is. Their stuff was the perfect soundtrack for it. I got into them during their second record that was out, and I had a copy of it, not an actual official copy, but a copy of a copy. You know, we used to dub tapes back in the day, but that was the album Ride the Lightning, which I had in a video before. Metallica, right? So their next record, Master of Puppets, which recently had an anniversary, this just blew me away, even with, you know, Ride the Lightning. This was definitely a continuation. I wouldn't say the next step, but it was definitely a continuation of the same thing that they had going. And what makes this special to me was this was my first metal concert I went to. I probably said this before. Outside of Detroit, there's an amphitheater called Pine Knob Music Theater, and I lived like 2 miles away from it, to the point where I could hear shows, you know, from my backyard. But Ozzy Osbourne was coming by with Metallica in tow, and I was so into Metallica. So me and my buddy Jerry got tickets. We had row Z, which was like about 2/3 back, and you know, the intro music came on, which is Ecstasy of Gold. And we're just standing there like, yeah, cool, the show's starting. And we noticed people start hurtling over the seats. And we're like 15 years old, and we're like, screw it, we're going too. Made it down to 5th row in the center, right off the aisle. And I was probably about 15, 20 feet away from Cliff Burton. Yeah, and there's literally a pile of people in front of the stage. And it was just pure mayhem. The security was not prepared for this show, for this band, for that crowd. It was just amazing. So, unfortunately, a couple months later, Cliff passed away, you know, the tragic bus accident, and yeah, but still, we got the music, and that's what counts. Metallica, Master of Puppets, my 80s entry. For my 90s entry, this one's going to be the one that seems like it's out of my wheelhouse, but I really, really, really dig this album. I've mentioned many, many times before that I worked at this record store called Harmony House. It was a chain store in Michigan, and I worked at their flagship store, and they got in tons of imports. They actually had a huge bin of vinyl, which, if you know of record stores in the 90s, records weren't a thing. Vinyl records weren't a thing. You know, mostly CDs and a section of cassettes. And the crew that worked there, we had pretty much one of everything. We had a jazz guy, we had a world music guy, we had a Britpop guy. I was the token metal dude. But hearing in-store play from all these other people, I got to learn so much more than my specialty. And I was never much of a techno guy, and I learned it like that. And then in the mid-90s, trip hop was coming out, and DJs were making their own records too. And one that really stuck with me that we played quite often was Introducing by DJ Shadow. And this album is just a masterpiece where he would, you know, take loops, drum beats, and then add layers of all this other kinds of music. It's hard to describe, but it's just a cool record. I love this album so much. I'd play a couple songs when I had a stint as a DJ, not like, you know, scratching and mixing. I was just playing music. But there's a couple tracks I'd play off this, especially early in the evening, just to kind of, you know, just to get in the mood of stuff. But highly recommend this. If you haven't checked it out, stream it. DJ Shadow, Introducing. So that's my 90s entry. So again, Josh, congratulations, 3,000 subscribers. Maybe we'll work on getting you 4,000. Let's do that. So anyhow, thank you for taking the time to watch this. And I should have said this at the beginning. If you like my videos, hit the subscribe button and hit the like button if you dug this contest video. And if you would be so inclined to do so, please hit the notification bell. So anyway, everyone have a good day, a good evening, a good morning, whenever you're watching this, and we'll see you later. Bye.